Power off.
What are we hearing right now?
Right now, we're hearing two oscillators running through a voice. So there's two filters going, and they're being sequenced by the toolbox.
So they're being sequenced.
Yeah. If you want to hear
It's really random.
Right. So
It's really fun.
I have the toolbox with a couple of very specific sequences in sort of C Mixolydian scale, but they're being run through a switcher, and the switcher is being clocked randomly off of this LFO. So every time like that light blinks, it's switching back and forth between the sequences. And so like the steps of the sequence are getting randomized. Okay, and then you have
How could that even?
You have controls on the front panel, just like a normal oscillator, right? You got pitch stuff, fine tune, octave settings, and you can select the shape.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Well, that's a touchscreen too, right?
Oh, okay.
Let me see if the second one is there.
And then each oscillator has a main page and a secondary page. So the secondary page has additional parameters to change. Like the second page has the weirder parameters on it, like the slicer frequency. And a tune spread.
That's a sweet sound.
So slowing down the slicer frequency so that it's at BPM rate rather than audio rate. Pulling up the init patch again, that should be a sine wave. And now I'm FMing it from the Hertz donut.
I can't hear that high.
It sounds good there. That sounds really good.
Fun stuff with FM, and you can do both exponential and linear FM. We'll have two different modes. So linear FM is the counting stuff. The normal like DX7 style FM, what we classically think of as FM. Exponential is like the vintage Moog Modular's science fiction sweep. FM.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
We know what we're talking about.
I get it.
It also, has this touch screen on the face too, and you can perform with it. And then obviously you see like all these inputs, right? There's 20 inputs there for modulating the different parameters. They basically line up to the controls that are on the screen. And the controls, you'll see like a block with a couple of squares lit up. Those basically are analogous to the inputs on the front panel. So if you're looking at this R size parameter, that's the slicer frequency. I'm like, I want to modulate that. Okay, that's in the second row, the very top one. And plug in there, and I got it. And multi-sync is basically, hard sync at different points within the waveform. Like normal hard sync is a single cycle. We can do multiple hard sync points inside of a single cycle or out beyond a single cycle.
Of course.
You should have a modular setup. This is a, this is a small setup.
That's a pretty impressive. I like the sound just because first off, it's like it sounds new.
The bulk of the
I
sound.
really love it. I really love what the sound is. I don't.
Thanks. Yeah.
But
I don't know what that what all the stuff means, how to get into it. But if we had exactly that setup, I'd be really happy.
yeah.
Have you
Recallable.
set up like 2 or 3 of these side by side, multiple units, like wave, interfaces like this, and messed with them, or is that really kind of just like then you're just getting into
There's so
craziness?
many things going on top of each other.
I haven't done that because for the longest time, this was the only one.
Yeah.
But we just recently got some additional units that have gone into a beta test, and these guys are hitting it hard.
Very cool.
I'm sure.
So I haven't set it up, but if I need to model anything that is more than what is here, I tend to do it in the plugin.
I see. Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see a bunch of them together. Here's the thing with Waverazor,
There's
I
only
made
so
that
much.
super thick sound. That happens easy. You don't want to modulate it too much. You don't want to turn the knob too much sometimes, unless you really want that crazy sound. But just doing a little touch of it, add a little bit of motion, because a lot of those slices, the frequency of the slice versus the frequency of the wave creates this phasing that just moves stuff around in this very nice way. And you have that times 8.
Yeah.
And then when they're
You miss it.
when they're I have a patch it here that's swarm saw here. That's basically, let's do that one.
So audio 1 and audio 2, are those the same output? Oh no, because there's an audio 1, audio 2 in the mix.
Right.
What's the mix entailing?
So mixes both oscillators. Okay. So what you can do is you can control both oscillators from one CV source or both oscillators from one MIDI source. But anyway, so this patch has both of the oscillators stacked. And it sounds like, a bunch of swarming sawtooth waves, but it's just 2 oscillators.
That would have been a good Dirty John sound. Or something.
Yeah, that's
Well,
good.
yeah.
Can you put that up again? I just want to see if we can. We can make a little about that.
That was I like that thing that you had when you started, because it was
Right.
like a sequence, but it was very abstract, and some of it was almost just like you were listening to some alien radio station, and it had like that dust, and it also wasn't a steady tone. It was turning off.
Yeah, that was because this was sequencing that. So they were originally
LFO was ramp. randomizing as well. We took that out of the equation.
And so right now you're not using any external LFOs. It's all inside the black box, correct?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Well, there's actually one LFO out here that I'm modulating.
Okay.
LCB.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what I was missing. And of course, the different patches respond differently.
Did you turn that up a little bit? No. Yeah, that was cool. That was...
It's almost like the Dramatics music. It's like when you randomize it.
So, is this a consistent sequence that's going through? Is it just repeating the same? Like, I can see things moving, but I can't tell what's coming out.
There's a 16-step sequence and a 12-step sequence.
Okay.
And a, I think, 7-step sequence. And then I'm...
So, how is it true? But it's only using 2 of those because it only has 2 inputs, right? For
So,
CB.
what I'm doing for a set of 2 of those sequences is I'm running into a switcher that is sort of randomly jumping back and forth between the notes.
Okay.
So it's catching those sequences in different sections. And
Oh, okay.
that's how
Yeah.
you get more of the randomness out of it.
Kind of like recording audio and having like the takes and swiping the different parts randomly. So you're taking the first 16th note of take 2, and the second 16th note of like take 5, and the third one is from take 4. Never mind. That made any sense. You know what I'm talking about? Like
I know what you're
vocals,
saying.
but it's just randomizing
It's
what's happening.
randomizing. Yeah, okay. That's what it's doing.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool.
So, but that's, you have 4 sequences going. Are they being routed?
I'm not using the last one.
The last one, what's the third sequence?
They're switching between each other.
Right, but there's,
The third one, I think, is actually doing like the bass notes.
okay. Now, are they triggering separate oscillators, or is it all going into both at the same time?
They're triggering the 2 oscillators separately.
Separate. Yeah, one of them is doing the bass and the other one's doing the top.
Can we hear like one versus the other?
We should fight off on a random.
What kind of output does it have?
I have
Like a
a
mono output?
1/8-inch mono output, but there are ways that you can run things in stereo.
We can even do like in this kind of setup, we can get like modules and do stereo like delays and reverbs too, so it expands them.
Well, I was just curious because it'd be interesting if you could take like maybe whatever the one oscillator is doing, whatever the other. I mean, I know they're combining, but if there were separate parts that could be on different
Left and right.
you know, like how we stem things.
Yeah, definitely. We can
They've
do
got
that.
separate audio outputs for the oscillators, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, so you can,
What does that mean?
so, because the one right now is like the bass line,
Yeah.
that has its own dedicated audio out.
Okay, that's kind
They
of.
do have a mix out too.
We're coming out of a mixer right now.
Okay, I got
could
it.
probably
So,
randomize that.
so you could like send a number of stems into different recording channels and
Good. Yes.
mix it outside of the box later on.
You said there's 4 pages of parameters.
So those are basically top level pages where we've set up macro controls to the best parameters for you to tweak and play with live, most convenient things. But there are lots more parameters under the hood. I didn't show you that there's also an edit button or info
I was
button.
wondering
on
what
the
the
other
info
side.
was.
So info takes you to the edit pages where you can get to things like system settings, which normally are not that interesting, but you can change it to Klingon if you want.
That's so cool. See, now we need
That's
CV. We
awesome.
need CV to modulate that.
I want CV to modulate Klingon.
Yeah, we'll modulate the language, I think.
And you can change
Oh,
the
that's
color scheme.
sweet.
But his point is, the edit pages are per oscillator, so you could have completely
Yes.
different
Yeah.
settings
Yeah, that's
for each of the oscillators.
Are they completely separate, or are the controls? Is there like a certain level where the controls just become overall controls?
They are mostly separate, but they can be run, sort of together.
Yeah. Okay.
Like there's some settings for if you want two different CV inputs, or if you want them both to listen to one CV input for the per octave tracking, and then that way you can get them doing layered things.
Before you change that sound, can I record like a few 5-second long pieces to?
Absolutely.
We've been recording the whole day.
I think it's been running the whole
We've been
time.
recording.
I'll get it with you a picture and stuff. Is that okay?
Absolutely, yeah, it's fine.
I get it.
So the part you design is the black Waverazor part, or like the whole thing going on.
No, just a
Just the
Waverazor
Waverazor.
module.
Okay, no. So the other stuff is stuff that is available commercially. Like, is it something I gotta have to call up and do the Vintage King or something? And transfer some
Yeah, they're all
The
individual.
sequencer box underneath it is another 1010 box. That's Eric.
Okay.
And
But
then
that's commercially available.
yeah,
Okay.
Okay, 5 seconds of silence, you guys. I'm just gonna get. Okay. Thanks. I'm going to do a couple of those before then. There's a film we're working on. I'm going to play a couple things for the director.
Yeah, no problem.
So you have to leave this here now.
Yeah, I know. We're all kind of like.
You don't need that, right?
But this to me is like, I really like the sound. I like it better than like Sornatron was kind of cool, but it was kind of like a step towards this.
this is much more controllable chaos, but almost more chaos than the Sormatron's model. It seems, but like on purpose. With Sormatron, it's just like you get what you get, and you better be recording because it's not going to make the same noise twice.
Well, I'm listening to it and I'm thinking like like working the picture. This stuff, this kind of sound would be so helpful and like taking what you're working on, even if it's an orchestra or even if it's like synths, it's it'd be really great for like giving it a whole new footprint, a whole new interpretation.
Well, the cool thing is we already have the plugin too, so you can get a lot of the same kind of sounds. Because even like Albert was saying, oh, that would be perfect for Dirty John.
Okay,
I'm
but
like,
I've just never heard this
oh yeah, no, and this is
in our building. So
absolutely,
This is sort of a more immediate
yeah,
gratification and context. Changing the design to reduce the number of steps, like that's automatically more manageable.
right.
And then having all the modulation available from the front panel, where you just, you have an envelope module, you plug it in.
Right.
You have
Right
an
there.
LFO, you just plug it in.
Right.
Then, like, in that sense, modular can be really immediate.
Yeah.
In the other sense of modular is that you can get into a rabbit hole very quickly. I mean, look at all these,
Well, you
cables.
made a nice, succinct package to complement what you have.
Well, there's part of it is that I've designed synths before,
Right.
and that's essentially all these patch cables. Like if I wanted to do a specific thing, then I connect all this stuff together, and then now it's fairly manageable where I know which patch cables I can move around, and then which knobs turn and do things, and then it behaves like a hardware synth to me.
Yeah.
The difference is that I can repatch it later and do something different.
Yeah.
But every time it's sort of like a user interface exercise. Like, what sort of instrument do I want to make today?
I just see it as like, if you're if you compare Sonic
Again.
to visuals, you're thinking of it as like a visual artist. We got guys here that do perfect, realistic paintings. That can make it photographic. perfect, and we got guys that do crazy, wild, abstract stuff. But this is like having another color palette. Since we were talking about it's like having a whole nother, like something else beyond spray tan. It's so. I mean, I'm just saying that sounds for somebody that's worked in making, audio music for decades and decades. It's like I like it when I hear something and I go, oh, that's an instrument I've never heard.
It definitely makes.
I'm just curious, and I'm trying to imagine, because see, in a perfect world, you would say, I'm just going to leave this here with you. But that's not your perfect world. So we need, but I'm curious, like, what would it take to do something just like that?
Well, let's get an answer for you. Like, what we can do is there's a website called ModularGrid that allows you to model the front panel and just put this panel up there on ModularGrid. I'll interface with John, and we'll total up what all the modules cost, and
And there's also like different utility versions of everything on there that different.
I don't want the different version. You want?
Well, I mean, there might be like weirder or something that can combine a couple of those.
Well, let's get to it. What does he want? What do you want from that?
Later.
You're gonna have a tough time finding.
There's some cars. There's some cars out there that you can let go.
I might take a car.
Ethan, you just lost your car.
Yeah, there's a new Subaru out there.
It's great for kids.
Great for kids. It's the safest car in the room for the
There's a
price.
watch here. There's a
this
watch
is
right
totally.
there.
When it comes down to it, this is totally reproducible. Like you can go onto a website, put in an order. It's just knowing what exactly to grab and how to use it. This system has been pretty much curated over several trade shows where
That's what I would believe that.
I
I'm not underestimating that your brain power went into picking the pieces that are there, and it wasn't random. It wasn't like we're saying, oh, you just get different things. There's all sorts of new stuff out there. I like that.
It's succinct.